All right, that's the time. Let's get started. Good evening, everyone. I'm John Oberlander. Friends call me Obi. You can do that too if you want to differentiate between us. I'm the founder and sole author of the On the Juice newsletter, proud partner of Juice Reel, the self-proclaimed Robin Hood of sports betting, which I came up with one day and maybe has run away with a little bit. Having a good betting year, but today I'm not the talent, I'm the facilitator. And in general, I've spent a lot of time professionally working with data-driven teams. And I think both of the pros we have today are pretty data-driven, pretty excited to share their approach. So, Andrew, if you can jump to the next slide. Agenda for tonight. We're going to start with a product overview demo from Ricky, the Juice Reel founder, who just popped up here. Then I'm going to go one-on-one and let Matt, or Straight Edge Bets, as he's known. That's how you pronounce that for those who weren't sure. Let him tell his story, answer some questions. Then I'm going to do the same thing with Justin, who's another top bettor on our leaderboard. By the way, Matt's currently number 1. I think Justin's 11. So I don't know if there's any drama around the rankings. Ricky created that algorithm. Then we're going to do a group round of audience questions, some of which have already been submitted. People, you can submit them live also. And we'll do, if people are up for it, there's still interest, we can go an extra 10, 15-minute encore. And if people want to come on camera and ask their questions, we'll do that then. But until then, we're just going to do questions from the chat. So for quick housekeeping, drop your questions in the Zoom Q&A anytime. We'll tag them for the panel. We're going to give you some polls. Please answer the questions. It's not tagged to any individual, and we're going to share the results right after we post them. I think Andrew or Ricky and I will make sure we get you links to each of Matt and Justin or Straight Edge Bets and Jumane's feed in case you want to subscribe to them. We'll do that at the end also. And then this session's going to be recorded. So if you miss part of it, we'll send out the replay to everyone. All right, I'm pumped for this. So I think first, we're going to launch our first poll. By the way, Andrew's our producer. So this is like get to know the audience. So
I just uploaded the first poll, so if you guys want to answer, feel free to, and really helpful in terms of directing how we take this.
I will start sharing results once we get to 2/3 participation. We're at 50%. Actually, when people are cruising through this, let's get a little higher. And then Andrew, you can share it with the group.
We're about 75%. We can get the 80. I'll close it out.
All right, cool.
All right, on that. The results.
All right. So how long have people here been betting? Seems like reasonably experienced bettors, though the 6 to 24 months, that's probably people who got into this once it got legal in the US. Average bet size, like nobody's betting tiny, very few huge bettors, and a good cluster between 5 and 500. Primarily financial betting goals. I'm interested in this. All right, so there's a lot of people here looking to make side income profit. And then 1/6 of the people, it looks like, have ambitions to go pro with this, which is interesting. What do people bet on? Looks like everything. College hoops, college football, player props are behind. And then Juice Reel. All right, 10% haven't even used it, Ricky. So we can evangelize it. Another 20% don't use it that often. And only 20% have subscribed to folks. So match us an opportunity to talk about that value prop for sure. All right, Andrew, let's kill the poll for now. It's good to get to know the audience. We'll do a couple more of those throughout. I think to start now, I want to jump in with just Ricky. So maybe let's put the other panelists off screen, and guys, we'll bring you back up as we get to the next segment.
First off, everybody, thank you. So grateful to have everyone in the community. I'm Ricky Gold, founder and CEO of Juice Reel. My team and I have spent the past few years building this product, and we can't wait to spend many more making a bunch of awesome shit for you in the betting community.
Awesome. So, Ricky, I think the main thing I want to ask you to do is give a tour of the app. But I guess before you do that, can you give a concise version of why does this app exist? But you're walking down the street one day and you're like, you know what I'm going to do with my life? I'm going to start building this thing.
I've been a sports bettor pretty much my entire life. Grew up in a sports betting household. My dad's a big sports bettor, not a particularly talented one. Sportsbooks would call him one of their favorite customers. But one thing I realized from betting forever, prior to Juice Reel was there was no way to keep track of all your bets. You ask anyone how they did last football season, you never got a numerical answer. And that was kind of what started the snowball for the idea for Juice Reel. But what really made me go and want to start this company was when I realized that if you made an awesome, helpful bet tracking app that could automatically track bets from anywhere, there's so much more you could do with everybody tracking their bets authentically straight from the sports books, notably legitimizing the betting advice industry, which is something I'm really excited about.
No, I love it. So yeah, people with moderate usage of the app, can you screen share and just walk us through if someone's new to the app, where do they start? And then ideally get all the way to like, if someone's a heavy user and they're subscribing to one of our top bettors, what are the recent features you've released to make their ability to tail those bets and get the best lines possible really easy?
I'm going to join by my phone. I'll just give a live demo of the app.
Sweet.
Recording in progress.
You gotta have a little AV awkwardness.
Sorry for making everybody look up my nose. Can everybody see my screen? Or can you, John?
Yeah, you're good.
So this is the app. Most of you have at least seen it before, but it looks like pull a couple new people here. First thing you do when you download it is connect in wherever you bet. So link in your DraftKings, FanDuel, Prize Picks, offshores, wherever you're betting, connect in your account, and all your betting history loads into the app. And from there, we show you how you're doing this week, this month, this year, how you're doing on straight bets versus parlays, what are your best sports, how you're doing by different betting styles, money line, spread, player prop, things like that. What are your best teams, best players, worst players, CLV, high odds bets, low odds bets, pretty much an entire dashboard for who you are as a sports bettor. And we show you how your bets are also doing, your open bets, how they're doing in real time as the game plays out. So you can see I bet 50 bucks on the Wings, it's looking like I'm down $8 on it if it were we value it in real time, and then show you all the different live lines. Mine are all filtered to New York, being from New York. And you can track your bets, hedge, double down, and make decisions in real time as the game's playing out.
Sweet.
So we all built a bot that picks 2 picks a day, daily at noon, and it's been running for almost 2 years now, and it's been profitable, which over a 2-year period, picking straight bets.
Yeah, people always ask me, what's the logic behind this bot? Is that too expensive of a question to answer on a small webinar? Or
well, it uses all of the data synced into the app, and it runs some pretty advanced tech on top of it to figure out which bets it thinks will be the best for the day.
Cool. And to have access to that's part of the Juice Plus, which is $10 a month. Respect.
We get some questions around people understanding Sharpmush, which I think is a really important, unique feature of what Juice Reel has to offer. So I clicked this pink button right here, Top Sharpmush, which scans there's Sharpmush on every game, and this feature scans all of the Sharpmushes from all of the games to find the most attractive ones. And that goes to the question, what is Sharpmush? When everybody connects in all their betting accounts, we know who's a good bettor, and we know who's a medium bettor, and we know who's a bad bettor because everybody connects in all of their betting history. And so we use that information to help the whole betting community bet smarter. So what is Sharpmush? It measures the difference between what the sharps are betting on and what the mush are betting on. Mush is the term meaning bad bettor. And so how do you read this scatter plot, and what does this mean? So this is a scatter plot of everyone who's bet on this Vettori Allen fight so far in our app. And as you move from left to right, on the scatter plot, are getting better and better bettors. People all the way on the left are our worst ranked bettors. The people all the way on the right are our best bettors, and everything in between. And so how do you read this scatter plot? The top line is what best bettors splitting their money.
Yeah,
And 68% of the best bettors are on Vittori, 32% of the best bettors are on Allen. And of all the worst bettors, everyone on the left, almost all of the bad bettors are on Allen. And so a lot more good bettors, a lot more sharps are on Vittori,
yeah,
and a lot of bad.
yeah. This is like the of which way is the money going. This is like with the smart money going.
Exactly. You can be looking at just bet splits of dollars and tickets is kind of irrelevant. Floyd Mayweather puts $1 million on a team. There's a whole lot of money and not a lot of tickets. That's
Yeah,
not
totally.
sharp. This is a real way to betting activity.
All right, cool. Part of my job is to keep us moving. So get over to the marketplace and show people the most recent innovation that I personally think is like the thing you have going.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And so what else do we do with everybody connecting in all of their sports books? Launch the first ever transparent betting advice marketplace. Everyone has seen people getting scammed on Twitter, and I'm not going to name other companies by name, but what can we do? People like Matt, Straight Edge Bets, formerly we called them Sexy Bets till we met him, and you can see exactly how good he is and helping truly profitable bettors shine and helping the rest of the betting community follow along, copy his bets, and ride with him.
Yeah. I mean, this is solving two massive things, and I know we're going to talk more about it. One is like, can you trust the person paying for betting information is actually good at it? And two, do they bet on the stuff you're going to want to bet on? Like, is the type of information you're seeking? That's awesome.
Exactly. And to all of Matt's subscribers today, they by the looks of these bets, they're pretty happy.
Oh yeah, this is live, right? I'm
Yeah.
a Matt subscriber. I'm feeling good.
Myself.
All right, cool. Did you show the copy bets functionality yet?
Not, blue button copy bets lets you copy all of the bets that Matt has or anyone has, and you can quickly line shop it. All these games are pretty deep into the game, so but
Yeah.
game start, you can copy all of the cappers bets. It'll line shop it across the sports books you care about and let you copy them in bulk, and so you can mimic the cappers really quickly.
Yeah, subscribes to Matt or Justin or anyone else on this leaderboard. They can use this app to find the best lines and bet them. Or if they use copy bets, conceivably they could turn that into like a 4 or 5 leg parlay if they wanted to, which because the guys are skilled and have an edge, should be a compounded edge positive EV parlay.
Yep, exactly. So it's letting you bulk do it really quickly. You can press a couple clicks and have all their same exact bets.
Yeah. No, this is super cool. And I think for everyone who's here, if you didn't know about this, learn about it. We get louder about this because this is really distinctive in the market. Ricky, I want to hit some quick questions that have come up in the chat that are relevant to what we're talking about. One, difference between your app's like projected value of a bet and the cash out value that the sports books offer.
It's a relatively similar, the way you should think about it is the same. The only difference between the two really is the sports books typically rip you off on your cash out. When your bet's worth a $10 cash out, they're only going to give you 8 because it's like when you cash out, it's another almost like revenue stream for them. But similar concept of the algorithm we're running.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say same algo, but the sports books are using that as a profit lever. By the way, if you didn't read my writing about this, I would never use that cash out button outside of very unique situations. Another good question. How do you rank people? How does Matt get to be number one? Like what into that power ranking? Is it ROI, total returns, other?
So we put a ton of thought into the ranking algorithm because it's critically important. And there's not one factor that you could ever judge a sports bettor on. Make $1 million bet once and win it, you 100% win rate, an inconceivable profit of $1 million. but you're not the best sports bettor. And so there's tons of factors, everything you could kind of should go into a ranking algorithm, it does. And, by the people on the leaderboard, and we're pretty satisfied that on it is
But like, what are the top three things?
ROI is important. You have to have enough sample size to be betting, it's an important metric when it comes to this kind of thing. Yeah, that.
Yeah. All right, sweet. There's a lot of other questions. I need to keep us moving, but we can get to these either in writing or like on the back end for folks who asked other questions here. Ricky, more questions for you, just like before move on to the other bettors and get to the panel. One, what that are upcoming are you most excited about? Give us like your top two.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this thing called Pick of the Day. You'll see it in the app where essentially everyone, good, better, bet, tag a bet, call it their pick of the day, give a little write up. We'll track the streaks of it. We'll give away money to people who are, they hit 10 in a row, wins $1,000, and have a lot of fun with it. Other feature that's coming out is we really want to deepen the connection between the sellers and the pass holders, their subscribers, so that they can help educate and help guide all of their subscribers even more than just feeding
Yeah.
winning picks, things like chat, educational concepts, files, sharing, things like that.
Cool. What books or platforms are you like prioritizing get onto? People are always like, oh, you don't have this book. Like, what are the top two or three you're definitely going to get on in 2025?
Yeah, we're focusing. Next ones that'll be rolling into the app will be Bookmaker, Call Sheet, Onyx Odds, and then some smaller ones with them.
Sweet. Kalshi is high on my list because
I know it is.
now that I'm limited, I'm like person. Last question. We talked about this a little bit, but like there's a whole universe of people selling betting advice who do not have validated skill in that arena. Like, what's your vision for the future of the marketplace? Because right now, this has some amazing bettors. I think most of whom have found their way to the app. Are you going to recruit bettors? Are you going to let people grow? Like, how big do you think this can be?
So, I mean, of the issue of the betting advice industry is who makes the most money selling picks today? The best marketers, not the best bettors. So, I mean, this app is let's make the best bettors make the most money and help the most people. And so that's really the vision for this. The community, everyone on this call, everyone else is using the app, helping to be the voice, bringing more people on and making people aware that you don't have to fall for the scams that the other people on Twitter are putting out is really helpful. And we're going to do a whole lot more, bringing more super talented bettors, some of which who aren't on the app yet, bringing them on and more sports specialists.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about is the sports specialist thing. Like, there's sports you have a ton of coverage, but like, I love to bet on where I'm like, I'm not really going to handicap this myself. Super effective. Like golf command, I see it at the top here, they've been coming up. So I'm always like reading people's point of view, like trying to find something. And when there's solid people on here, I'm just like, find, I don't know, like a golf better, a legendary UFC better, a legendary WNBA, NFL sides, things that like are to find.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the top of the leaderboard are proven winners and good people to follow. And, more and more new blood come onto the platform. And we've got a couple more people who I think are going to come on with them.
All right, awesome. I'm gonna hit the group with another poll. Ricky will be back later in the segment. Thank you for sharing that. Before bring up Matt, and by the way, Ricky, there's a bunch of questions in the Q&A that you can answer.
Did I just kill the meeting?
You did. People are coming back. How do we, Andrew, I don't see the people the way I used to.
Click participants on the bottom.
Oh, there we go. All right, well,
Whoops.
Ricky's good at certain types of technology, less at others. I think the number one rule of webinars is not to
turn them off.
But we're back to 70 people. So, all right.
They're filing back.
What I was saying, Ricky, is there's Q&A that I think, I don't even see them anymore. All right, so we'll have to get it going again.
Cool. Refire your questions if you had them.
Ricky can answer some of them via typing.
You want me to start the second poll back up?
Let's do the second poll.
Come on for you guys.
See it.
Okay, cool.
Excited to get the real stars of the show on.
Agreed.
I see one question. Are you guys professional sports bettors? I'm an avid sports bettor personally, not a professional. The others in the call, John.
I'm not a pro, but I have a good side income from this now. I think, Matt, you would say you're a pro now. And Justin, I think, would probably say the same thing.
You want me to end the poll right now?
Yeah, and the poll. Let's share the stuff.
Cool.
All right. So, what tools do people use? Israel, not so many paid odds or self-bit models, Discord, Twitter picks, gut and notes. I do some of that. Most people have multiple books here, which I'm glad to see. Topics: building models, quantitative handicapping, and player prop edge finding. All right. I think we got the right people then.
Cool.
All right. So, Ricky, I think you're good.
I won't cancel the meeting.
Don't cancel the meeting. Apologies to everyone on that front. But let's switch gears. So, Matt, aka Straight Edge Bets, currently #1 on our leaderboard, which I hope is a good feeling. Matt, I've been subscribing to you for a while. One thing that stands out for me is your ability to win in many different sports, which there's people on the leaderboard. Some of them are doing that. A lot more of them are specializing. But for now, can you give us a little bit of your background? How'd you get into this? What led to you sitting here and topping a betting leaderboard?
Well, thanks for having me. I would describe myself as a live and pregame bettor. I bet all the major sports, baseball, basketball, both college, pro, women. Same thing with football. I try and catch all the major ones. Most of my profit has come from live, but I'm starting to make some waves on the pregame stuff too. I originally got into sports betting because I was a DFS player. So I was entering DraftKings, GPPs, FanDuel, all that stuff. And I was starting to win a little bit, and I just wanted to get a little coaching before pushing my chips in, just to make sure that I have somebody who was really sharp, go over my results, make sure this isn't fooled by randomness thing. And he suggested I start sports betting to even out the swings.
Yep.
So I started betting props here and there, but found I liked it. I was like, oh, I don't have to go 3 or 4 months without winning anything at all. DFS can be. So I was winning, and I started just reading and learning everything I could from that, and then started out doing top-down betting a little bit.
People, what that is? I don't know if the audience.
Sure. Top-down betting, or sometimes called plus EV betting, is finding pricing and efficiencies to the rest of the market. So it is predicated on assuming the market is efficient and that somebody is lagging behind, sharper books or sharper money. That if you make enough bets like that over time, you will be profitable. And it is a good strategy, but it has a very limited ceiling doing it pregame. And we can get into that a little bit, but one of the chapters in Ed Miller's Interception talked about how live betting was there's a lot of opportunity to make money live betting because the information changes so quickly. Every possession in basketball, every down in football, every pitch in baseball, right? These algorithms are having to account for a million different things, right? And so there's opportunity for them to make big mistakes. And so I started live betting. I was like, oh, they charge an insane vig on these bets, but it's not enough to save them, right? So I will sit there and live bet and pounce on their mistakes over and over again for live. And I was never interested in pregame betting because a lot of the edge there is in prop bets because books are pretty bad at setting lines and prices for props.
Yep.
But they know that. And so you start beating them on it and they clamp your wallet, right? That's enough out of you. We don't want your action anymore. So I was not betting props whatsoever. But with the advent of these exchange books where you're betting peer to peer and there's no risk for the house, that led me interested to start attacking props more.
So can you talk a little bit about the process underlying? You're talking about they're making live lines that are beatable repeatedly. Is that a quantitative process? Is it qualitative? Some combination of the two? And the more you can show stuff, give examples, I think the more that'll resonate with the audience.
So probably easiest answer is some books are taking their live modeling a lot more serious than others, right? And if you sit there long enough and you study the lines over and over again, you can see that some are chasing other books. as it goes on, right? And so when you have that information and when you can see, usually for me to get over the incredible amount of juice they charge, I make sure it's an arbitrage bet, so a negative hold, and I will hammer the bad side. It's not overly complicated. It does take
Yeah.
a ton of time, but there's a ton of money to be made. And the beautiful thing about the whole thing is they can't really measure your closing line value, which is the number one thing that they're using to limit. So I know one of the questions you wanted to talk about was how much can you make, right?
That was an audience question that I think has been echoed a couple times. I mean, I think there's two parts to it. One is like, how do you do this? How aren't you limited everywhere? Whatever. It sounds like part of your answer is,
I am, but
well, yeah, so I don't need to feed this. Two parts is how much money can someone make? And part two for me would be like, what does it take to get above a certain threshold? And then how are you navigating that personally? Whatever, concise answer to that.
so this kind of depends on the person's time and risk tolerance is what I would say. So if you have the time to sit there a couple nights a week or on Saturdays and Sundays and live bet while the games are happening, you can make a pretty good amount of money. And this is like if you don't have time and the most you can do is maybe tail some bets on juice, pregame bets, your ceiling's going to be less because you're going to be gathering CLV on yourself, right? And when you are beating closing line value, it's inevitable that you're going to get limited and it's going to cut your ceiling. And I know some of the audience members are here saying, oh, well, I'm not a pro. It's not going to happen to me. I'm just betting $5 at a time. My friend, it's going to happen to you even betting at those small amounts if you're beating CLV. Because what's going to happen is that bankroll is going to build and now you're going to be beating them for real money and they would rather just play defense and cut you off, right? And then if you just want to make a quick buck, I would just say take advantage of promos and get out of it, right? That's another good way to get limited. So it just depends. So if I had fresh books, no data on me as a bettor whatsoever, what I would do is focus on beating the exchanges pregame, where these peer-to-peer books are not going to.
So that's like Novig, Profit X. There are others.
If you can bet into even a book where if you can bet into Pinnacle, if you have access to that, they take a lot of action. So I would say your pregame stuff, keep to that, and then save your rec books for firing live if you wanted to completely max out on what you could earn sports betting.
So just to make sure, because I know our audience has varying levels of experience, rec books means like FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM, all the stuff that's yelling at you. Do your live betting there, and then either sharp books like Pinnacle or Circa or exchanges, ProfitX or Novig, do your pregame betting there. That'll give you the best account longevity.
The longest runway. That's best for account health. And actually use your and to throw this in there too, use your pregame betting for your DGen bets on your rec book. So if you want to make a dumbass parlay with your friends, or for me, sometimes I'll ask friends that I know are not good bettors what their play is today, because I have a hard time making bad bets on my own. It doesn't feel good. I hate getting my money in bad. But utilizing your network can be really helpful along those lines, and trying to confuse the traders reviewing your account. Is he getting lucky or is he sharp?
Yeah, no, totally. I've heard that stuff too. So if someone subscribes to you, what are they receiving? What's the sort of volume of bets? What bet types? Just give a little overview. Obviously, people can go in the app and look, but my experience has been not everyone's doing that, and it's more compelling to know the person behind it.
Definitely. So now with the exchange books, I'm definitely getting into having more pregame bets. And so for now, I'm focusing on WNBA and MLB. I mostly deal with pitching props. However, sometimes I'll throw the occasional home run in that looks good, the triple, as you've seen, or like I really like the hits prop too, because there's some really advantageous situations with hits. And I know you want me to talk about process. And so for my pregame process, I mentioned my DFS background. So I'm used to having projections sitting in front of me and working with them and understanding them pretty deeply. So essentially, I'm subscribed to just a ton of stuff. So I'm looking to see what each site is projecting, and then where does that reflect in terms of the market, and then where does that reflect in terms of the exchanges, which are two different things, right? And beating the exchanges has proven to be a completely different thing because you need to entice somebody to take the other side of the bet. And so the thing I obsess on is thinking about this other person on the other side of the bet. Why do they think this side of the bet is good? Why do they think it's going to win? Why do they think this price is good for it? Right. And being super investigative into that. And that's only if I get an inkling of this might be a good bet to take. Right. Now I'm starting to do opposition research. Right. And oftentimes, especially with baseball, it's nonsense. I can pretty much pinpoint exactly where this action is coming from, who tweeted it out, how many 15,000 views this tweet has. That's pushing the price of the market. And it's also been really good to learn. Let's say it's 11 o'clock at night the night before, and I see a bet that I think is going to be really good value that I could get on Novig or something. I'll look at some of the things that I know casuals look at to see if is this going to be the best price tomorrow, or am I going to be left with a massive minus CLV bet if I would have just waited, right? So
Yeah.
like I spend hours and hours studying these lines over every single day. I'm just looking at numbers on these screens. And so I have a pretty good sense of where the line movement's going to go, when's the right time to jump in. And I think that's where I can provide a ton of value to my subscribers is not just finding the value, but also the right time to enter the market.
Well, the example you gave about some dumbass tweets something and it creates a bunch of demand for something that you'd be excited to be on the other side of. That's like best case scenario, right? Because you're
It
not going to be
happens all the
limited. It's
time. And I can tell, I can see it. Not all, sometimes I miss because I'm waiting and I'm getting too cute, but most of the time I'm right about what's going to drive. And I've been experimenting with tweeting at some of these guys to see if I can make them think it was their idea to bet the other side to push the price favorably to me. But that hasn't worked super great. We'll
Yeah.
see.
All right, last question, because I want to keep us moving, and obviously we'll come back for the panel. By the way, there's some in the chat. You could type answers too that are directed to you. But so someone subscribes to you, they want to get the most value from it. You've given a bunch of guidelines. Are there bets where your edge is bigger? What qualitative color would you give? I've had this conversation with others, and it was like, oh, for example, Calvin said he had the biggest edge in summer league or Olympics, weird things. Are there corners of this where your edge is bigger?
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone who subscribes also gets access to my Discord where I write articles and teach and stuff like that as well. I also stream multiple times a week. It's a little slower now because MLB, it's worth live betting, but just the opportunities are far fewer than the other sports. So it's a lot of me just sitting there waiting, right? And so if you have the patience, join an MLB stream. If not, I would say my biggest edge is NCAA football, NFL, and NBA in college. Those winter sports, I absolutely destroy live. This is why I am
Yeah.
able to be in the top in almost every major sport. I'm top 10 because I'm just punishing these books live over and over again. So I would say join my streams. There's a ton of value. You can ask me questions directly. I guess the MLB is a good time too to ask me questions because there's a lot of lulls in between opportunities.
Oh, that makes total sense. And I have seen you destroy live lines. It's like 8 sequential bets as the line keeps going, and there's that same gap or whatever. So those have been super fun for me. Part of the promise, just we've got 100 people listening. I told Matt and Justin they don't need to oversell themselves. And frankly, part of the reason Juice Reel exists is so people who are fantastic bettors like Matt don't need to go make a bunch of TikToks about it and can just prove it with the data. But let me be a little bit of the salesman on your behalf and say the ability to win in all these places, the live bets are super fun, the added value from all the stuff you do. If people haven't tried it, the links in the webinar chat. It's $10 a week, right? And you can commit for 1 week. So obviously I think it's more than worth it. But even for people who are in that 5 to 20 or $20 to $100 range, given the ROI here, I would encourage people to check it out. Thank you. I'm going to keep us moving and switch to Justin, and then we'll all come back obviously for the panel. And
Thank you.
if you want to hit anything in the Q&A, Matt.
I'll definitely start chatting in there.
I don't just kill your visuals and we'll bring up Justin. Andrew, are
As
you
John
doing that?
mentioned, I'm just going to mention that his profile is in the chat as you mentioned as well. So I put that in there less than 2 minutes ago. If you want to check his Juice Real profile out and subscribe to him. Bring on.
You bringing up Justin?
Yes.
Justin, you there?
I'm here.
What's up, man? Well, I can't see your video yet. I don't know
Working
if I'm alone in that. It's gonna be more boring. There we go. All right, so Justin, aka Jumane, on the app. There's a picture of you and I think a adorable dog. From our prior conversations, you use an even more sort of quantitative approach than Matt. But can you tell people about your background, how you ended up here?
You hear me? So I spent a very quantitative background out of college. I started working in quant finance, basically working in quant finance from 2004 till 2 years ago. Started on sort of risk management sort of portfolio construction side. Went to and then worked at a fund of funds. I was a consulting firm, then fund of funds, then hedge fund. Then a discretionary commodities hedge fund, where I built my first systematic trading strategy for commodities. So that was in 2012 or so. And then in 2013, the hedge fund went out of business, and I had some time on hand. I happened upon one Coursera class on neural networks in 2013, which was pretty good timing. So I got into that, and from that, I ended up building a systematic trading strategy based on neural networks. Then that hedge fund went out of business on me as well. Actually, 2 in a row within 18 months. Those were great times. And a guy I used to work with at my third job here in New York, a hedge fund, he just reached out to me out of the blue. I hadn't talked to him in 10 years. He ran the trading desk. I was risk manager. And, 2 years ago, when sort of the ChatGPT got put on sort of the public, public became more aware of it. Basically wanted to make a play on that. We wanted to build like a sports analyst chatbot, sort of be the go-to, like, sports related question. Part of that was to connect betting advice to it. So we originally waiting for a third-party service to do this. And after a few weeks, this is 2 NFL seasons ago. So about week 6 or so, and two seasons back with the NFL, started looking at the results. I said, hey, third party, positive signal here. There's correlation, but it's not enough to overcome. We get some more sources. And so that's sort of the process where I started finding more basically fantasy sites and other sort of sites that estimate player stats.
Yeah.
Started scraping sort of data from them, and after some visuals.
Oh, we got visuals?
We got visuals. We'll see how this goes. So earlier I had to restart my computer and we're all still in visuals.
I can hit the Q&A if you need a minute to grab your visuals.
All right. Sorry.
I'm gonna. Oh,
sorry.
Okay. Let's
You good here?
see it, Justin.
So this sort of like kind of lays it out a little bit, but we're looking at basically the past games different sites did. It's and not only do you look at addiction, but important is you have to be able to. Source shouldn't get credit for knowing that LeBron James is probably going to score more points than TJ McConnell. So you need to judge their accuracy based on market expectations. Like, are they good at predicting versus the market, not just good at predicting, right? Otherwise, you get credit for knowing starters score more points. And you sort of you can use the markets, you can use the lines and the odds of the markets to sort of market expectations for the media, which lines tell you. And then once you do that, you can sort it out and look at a better from the odds weighted line, like they predict well. And so it's a way of saying like how they done past and use that to weight their predictions of the future, right? And this is at the bet type level. So for each bet type, like points and assists, there's a different weighted average across the sources. It gives you the mean, right? Because these are fantasy sites.
Yeah.
I want to give you the mean, right? Because you score twice as many points, you get twice as many
Yeah.
fantasy points. But betting is not like that. If you beat the line by 5, you get paid the same as by 1. You want the median. You want to build the probability distribution. You want to be able to say, okay, my line, like what I think the right sort of line is, the right odds. And once you have that, it's like mean projections, historical outcomes. You basically map that to, you take the mean, and using historical data, you can sort of that to a median, and then you build a probability distribution around that. These stats are all bounded by 0 for the most part. Like you can't go negative. So any distribution that's bounded by 0, like it's gonna most likely have this shape right here, this positive skew, where the mean is gonna be a lot larger than the median, and this becomes especially important when you get down to the lower cardinalities, like 1 assist, 2 assists. Like it has expected value of 2.5 assists. The median is probably like 1, because they're gonna get one assist a lot of times, and then occasionally they're gonna get 5 or 6. There's a bunch of stuff about like, and it also gets back to playing time. So there's a bunch of like sort of how do you use historical data, normalize historical data for playing time, and then using that, use the fantasy sites to get to the median, and then use historical data to get to the probability distribution from there. And you have a probability distribution, odds and probability. I can calculate expected value, and then all the sort of everything I've learned about portfolio construction from the hedge fund world comes into play then. So
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
kind of
I'm gonna jump.
I bring hedge fund type mentality and sort of sports betting. Tell some people it's like not nearly, markets have been picked over many more times. I'm just trying to bring that, a little bit of that sophistication to the sports betting market.
Yes, connect this because I understand what you just said, and I don't. Probably some of our audience does, maybe some less so, but like make certain ladder bets where you think the line doesn't match. Progressive lines don't match the distribution that you see.
Right.
So it's like going over 2.5 assists, over 3.5 assists, over 4.5, over 5.5, and over 6.5. Because when I was looking at your biggest wins, you've got multiple 25 to 1, 30 to 1, outlier
They're backed
outcomes.
up, but they're also backed up with even odds.
Exactly. It starts there. So yeah, like one, I think that's like a cool thing to know if they're subscribing to. I wrote about this once, but in my mind, like a ladder is a great way to have the fun you might get from like a big multiple, like a parlay, without giving up the edge that you're likely to do there. But anyway, connect.
And the ladders,
them.
the ladders themselves are like, it's optimized into account. Like it's the weights are actually optimized. So like the little weights are important to the ladder. Because you want, you're basically looking at them. So it's, and just if you like 3 4 assists, 5 assists, 7 assists, I mean, it's kind of the same bet. You don't keep put the same bet on. You want to reduce the size of each bet, right? To sort of take into account that they're kind of the same bet.
Yeah. So someone subscribes to you. Bets are betting.
Player props.
What sports
Only player props. I've done NFL, NBA, MLB last year. I need some time and I just got WNBA sort of rolling a week or so ago. So that's been a new thing. Taking sort of use that same framework. It was great. A lot of stuff can replace NBA for WNBA. So
yeah,
it worked out well. Like the NBA, like endpoint does WNBA.
And do you think you're as larger in certain bet types within them, certain alt lines versus like -110 bets? Talk more about that.
I mean, NBA was definitely the best. Seasons back, I was we had 2 seasons of each. Last NBA season was the best one. Last season was the second best. NFL first season, then NFL second season. So NBA is definitely better. It's just there's the right amount of data. There's the right amount of games. Like you only have 16 games, and then like that's enough to get. You're having cluster players. You have cluster players. You're in the last seasons. It's not enough data. Like you don't have. It's hard to ask these parameters because there's just not that many games.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But it still works. It's still, and there's some stuff done there that every time I go around, like the count is like things, from NBA applied to NFL. Like you keep running new things. It's a better way to do that. What
are the markets you're playing the most in NFL?
Player still across the board. The first season, oh my God, we had some really great wins. Last year, I think the market just got harder. So I mean, we didn't do as well as each touchdowns did, but we still, we're pretty, decently positive. But NBA, like here's something that I put together, like does well across, like lots, right? So you go from there all the way to, and I'd say like in general, sort of the, plus 500 to plus thousands probably are, sort of as the model kind of does its best. Interesting because the NBA, the very low well at all, but the WNBA has so many more lower on stuff. So they actually put out more.
So it sounds like are subscribing to you gonna go find the markets that are soft, and one season that might be anytime touchdowns, and the next time
there's a sort of normalize. Sort of look at the model and balance that types, try to balance overs and unders. You don't want to be all concentrated in one. So spread them around based on sort of how doing and other factors. But for the most part, the wins are getting everything from from past, from like how we're doing, how Forward's been doing lately, like all kinds of stuff like that. So like taking into account, but for the most part, the ladders are great, and the combo. I think probably the NBA combo bets are probably the best.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. Well, thank you for folks. I've talked to Justin a few times, and I would say 2/3 to 75% of what he's sharing, I can clock. And your mileage may vary, but I think from a fun, winning, ladder bets, player props,
Yeah, and I'm putting them out there. The models constantly scraping the websites and odds, so like it's refreshing every 6 minutes, and so you put the first set of bets on at 9, 10 a.m. And then throughout the day, once so right before starting line gets announced, I'll check the model throughout the doing a lot of changes these days because I was smart about not getting limited. And
I've been there.
Yeah, I have a really good CL versus CLV, and that doesn't last very long.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm going to bring us to the lightning where we're just going to hit Q&A either from the live chat or things that people have submitted. One thing I want to speak to, it came up in questions. I saw Matt already spoke to it, but like someone posed this thoughtful question, which is like, hey, I heard you should never, tail bets because you're going to get the same people, and the more people do it, the more that's going to run away and it's going to be competitive. And like, is that a concern? And I think the answer is yes, but in my opinion, not like a game over concern. I think if you're Matt, there's always like, is the value I can get from sharing my bets with people who are paying me, for the work I'm doing, does that balance out issues I may create for myself? I think that's one part of it. Another one I've noticed is the people who tend to sell on Juice Reel like to help people learn. They don't just want to be in, a basement betting or whatever people are doing with it. So there is some like human piece to this. And I think as the bettor, like, you need to be accountable from those lines. So if Justin bets something at -115 and you're seeing it at -160, like that bet might be dead. I wrote a newsletter about, but I would sort of encourage people to give it find the best way of value, and also find the, the seller or the handicapper that like you can from. One cool thing I think Ricky's about to say is we're adding in as an app feature the amount of money the cappers have made their subscribers. And so that's a good way of gauging not only is this person good, but is their information something I can profit from? Is that where you're going, Ricky?
Yeah, and really and to build on what you were saying, the most value out of someone you're subscribed to, being a profitable is an art form, but tailing a winning bettor is also an art form. There's really a skill to copying a guy like Matt and Justin. And we do what we can to make it really easy, but you still have to be diligent about it, and you should be. So when Matt places a bet, he'll immediately sync it in. You'll immediately get a push notification and be able to click it and then quickly copy the bet at what'll hopefully be the exact same line or a very similar line. That's how you try to get as close to as Matt and Justin, having your notifications on, quickly getting a push notification, quickly bet. That's how you're going to maximize the value. And so that's its own activity. And if you do that, you're going to have similar ROIs to these guys.
Yeah. I wrote a couple good newsletters on it. We'll send those out as a follow-up also. All right, lightning round. Past 10, we need to keep engagement up. So if people are answering too slow, Andrew and I are going to start harassing you. We'll start with Matt. Favorite long odds winner? Like, tell us about a bet that you were, this is, you bet some amount and won a big multiple of it.
Yeah, I don't usually take a ton of those bets. But Kyle Tucker triples 2 days in a row was completely unhinged and was
What were the odds on it?
Plus 6,000.
Oh, so you hit back-to-back 60 to 1s?
Yes, like
yeah, no one has the triple percentage that good. So
I mean,
that's
like
incredible.
Yeah, like books had him priced like I thought it was like 3, and I bet it first day and it hit and thought it was value, and then it popped up again. Like Hard Rock's at the same price, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, everyone's gonna think I'm a dumbass, like nobody a tailless bet. They're gonna think I hit twice in a row, but I was like, nah, the math is there. So I fired it and it hit again, which is pretty incredibly lucky, but also fun.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna get the streaks, right? When you're plus EV and then
I'll do it
lines.
again. There's no way that will ever happen in my life again. But
All right, Justin, tell us about like a leak you had in your betting process, like a you were doing that was losing you money. You identified and fixed it.
That's like every other day. No, I mean, it's I've always been building the air sky. So it's constantly evolving model, but I mean, a leak, interesting.
You can pass on this one. It's around. I'll get you something else
yeah,
if
it's
you
just
want.
yeah, I mean, I think
Ricky, describe a leak betting game.
Sorry.
I think you have plenty.
Leak in my betting game. My favorite bet of all time is every Sunday I do a round robin of who's going to score the first touchdown in each of the football games. That is not a winning strategy, but it is the most fun you'll have from between 1 and 1:15
It's a
p.m.
thing with betting. Leaks can be really fun.
I mean, one thing I say, like,
Advice.
I'm having to like when I use exchanges, like it's one like the UI, like it's Profit X is better than no big, hard to trade around, and so like, that's like if you're selection bias, like you're more likely to get bad bets.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm trying to get a little better at using exchanges, and also I keep track of like if I'm over on the exchange, I find the best under out there, and I set my over to be better, to give the best under, off the market or under.
Yeah, totally. For people who want to start, right, they're fine with tailing people. They want to build up their own shops also. What advice do you have for them? Matt, you go first.
I mean, it's not something I especially skilled at. But just say like, especially for baseball, like kind of understand what matters. You're looking at, for instance, I would say the order of what matters the most would be volume, number of pitches, guys throwing, opposing lineup, park, weather, and then umpire, and then maybe framing if you really want to go into it. But I think like I think that's pitching is a good baseball is easier.
Justin, this is a good one for you. I think your finance background. People are wondering like when they should size up. Like they've been betting, they've been winning at a certain units. They're feeling emotionally nervous about doing that. There's got to be a quantitative way to answer that question. What advice would you give people?
One thing you learn when you trade the markets, you'll always regret every day. That's just going to happen. It's hard to say for sure. I mean, you can basically analyze your own returns and analyze people's returns. Essentially you're looking for like you're saying, consistency, like not just looking, what makes me in the model confidence in the model is when both the overs and unders are when it's actually not a lot of will be like always taking unders on a certain player, and when they're going back and forth and can win on both sides, like that's when I feel a lot of confidence, because you're not just sort of, if you have a bunch of overs or a bunch of unders and like it just happens to be a week of like low, that's just like one factor that happened to move on you. Not the same as getting all the right, like the NFL season last year. The first 4 weeks was like historically low offense, like crazy low, like lowest since the 70s.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah. And so like if you're going on unders beginning, guess what? I was doing low unders beginning season. Like you have to be able to take into account, those kind of notions of like where is your wins coming from, like systemic thing that that if it moves, like you're on, or a bunch of independent sort of ideas that you're getting correct. Like that's what you need to. The more sort of independent decisions you're making, that's going to build confidence. And then otherwise, just hold your nose and do it.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I play a lot of poker, and you up in stakes, and if that taking a shot at the higher stakes, if you take a hit, you can just go back down.
Yeah.
Rebuild the bankroll and take another shot.
Yeah, it's just there's so much noise. That's why it's about what day you choose. Just do it slowly. That way, you're not that regretful.
Yeah. All right. Ricky Peskin, and I think there's a bunch of people. I have a point of view on it about the problematic sort of tax legislation snuck into the big beautiful bill at the last second. You want to give a point of view on that first?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it's disastrous for pro bettors. I think a few aspects stem from that. One, I think it's going to shift a lot of action to the call sheets of the world, because those are regulated by the CFTC rather than it being gambling. Donald Trump's board there. Does that mean I won't comment on that? But I'll put my tinfoil hat on for that. But I think it also means that, bro, their information becomes worth more than which I actually think is probably a great thing for a platform like ours. And that, how do you make money as the guy who's an incredible bettor? You don't actually gamble it, you help other people gamble it. And so, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As long as you have 5% ROI, that's what I choose. So
Yeah.
Easy.
What I was getting the policy. I don't, first of all, this does not apply. I think people know
Right.
that. I don't think this is going to stick. I think before the end of 2026, this will be cleaned up because I think the person who created this didn't really understand what they were doing. And it affects a lot of break even or losing bettors playing things like blackjack and poker. And I think those people are going to throw a fit to be asked to pay taxes on money they didn't win.
it hurts losing bettors the most.
Yeah, it's a pretty, I mean, I don't want to looking at the other live questions. So how often do you guys cycle your bankroll? Like people are talking about how to size bets. Maybe it's a good one for Matt, for someone who's doing EV betting in the audience.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different theories and Kelly and all of that stuff. I think the most important thing is to kind of mind the art of sports betting is from unabated. We'll talk about like flat betting to me is wonderful because that makes you the most square. So whatever is going to make you look like you suck or you don't know what you're doing, you know, don't bet like $67 on something, bet 50, bet 200. And let's say for me, whenever I've ever gone up in stakes and bankroll, I always get crushed every single time. It's going to happen without fail. And I know it's going to happen because I'm going up in stakes again for football this year. Um, it's going to happen, but you got to keep firing. If you have an edge, you have to keep firing. You're in like the worst downswing ever and you think you're never going to bet ever again. You just keep shooting and
Yeah.
you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I think experience. I'll share a little of a recent I've had because I was invited to this like VIP Kalshi event week, and I was like, oh, I wonder why I was invited. I don't think they have any clue I have anything to do with Juice Reel. I've done an insane amount of volume on there because the benefit of exchanges like that, especially when they're getting, Robinhood and whatever Square volume, um, it's very on a rec book to like something at long odds or very like a thing or like 2% thing because we're going to have very little there. But on the call sheets of the world, you can bet those as long as you're, sort of cautious. And, it's Matt's example of triple that's going to happen time at 1%. And so I've done a ton of that on both extremes. All of a sudden I wake up, I've done like 800K in volume in the past few months. I've won like it's really because I used to be a trader and there's some like unique opportunities there. And so one of those questions was, do I think exchanges are going to grow? I think absolutely. And like the prediction market types, the call sheets of the world, is with this different regulation and the fact they can tap into different sources of volume. I'm going to write about call sheet recently, but if people are looking for places to like find different edges, the other thing I do a lot of on is betting, no, this is not going to happen. Rec books typically say, who's going to win this golf tournament, and you can on these people at these odds. You can bet no, so and so is not going to win this golf, and a lot of success doing that as long as you're cautious about pricing. So I'm very keen on exchanges and those share. A few minutes left. I want to ask if this is like making money at this and thinking about going pro. We've talked about ways to avoid being limited, other ways of building edge. Like, I don't know, Matt, you sort of like a DFS. Like, what advice would you have someone at that stage?
A tough decision for me. It was kind of made for me. The company I was working for, job just went under, and like this was my income now, right? And so I just doing it, and that's kind of the beauty of being good at something like this. You don't have to, I didn't have to go back if I didn't. And so I've really enjoyed being a full-time bettor, and I've gotten better at it from being not being, busy with other things, that kind of thing. But you would have to calculate your expenses and calculate your ROI and see how much you would have to get down, and then probably cut that by some to account for like a dwindling edge. because like these edges get patched. I think probably to think someone could be the next Billy Walters, but you can have like a modest living, this, and it's better than writing self reviews like that.
Can you, one thing I think I would want if I were in the audience, there've been these questions about how much money people can, I don't think anyone needs to share how much money you make, but we've talked in like vague terms. Like, can you give a range, either of you, of what you think someone, let's say they're being thoughtful around what you've suggested, betting, pregame betting on exchanges and stuff. What's like, and let's say have the bankroll, to play at the edges of this is sort of the ceiling someone can do to be Billy Walters and finding lots of accounts and all that stuff.
I mean, we're all just guessing here because we don't know the limit, right? And we're only giving our best guesses as to the things that indicate limits. So if you were to only bet live, I would say, and you were super disciplined and didn't hammer any obvious error lines, which is really hard to do, to be enough to lay off of that. And then stuck to main lines in like NFL and college football for like the bigger schools, easily six figures.
You have a point of view, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I've really this last NBA's kind of up the bankroll and went at it. So I'm still kind of learning, but yeah, I mean that easily six figures. Yeah.
Looking at the questions, Matt, how do we Discord? I think the answer to that is to subscribe to your picks and then
subscribe to Juice, and then send me a screenshot of Juice name subscribed on Twitter, and I'll send you an invite link.
That's why we're bringing some of the chat and things into the app so we can streamline that, so you don't have to get to a Discord and things like that.
Yeah, I have no desire to continue to manage that, but looking forward to bringing it all in house.
Yep.
Andrew, any other questions from chat or pregame you want to give to the group?
I saw one that was pretty interesting earlier about it was related to sharp mush and how if it's differentiated between the actual sport that someone plays on or just general. I think Ricky may have touched on it a little bit, and he may have answered it previously, but I think it's repeating to the whole group who's still here. I think it's something that's given it's a juice reel, I think it's worth discussing.
Yeah, what was the question exactly on?
The question was, I can do
yeah, sure. Yeah.
When you're saying who's sharp and who's specific.
Oh, it is generally your rank is the driver of that. So it's not based on your sport. It's based on how good of a bettor are you generally. But yeah, that's a good question.
So there's some corner risk of
if a great bettor who happens to suck at NHL has an NHL bet, he's counted as sharp because he's a sharp bettor, even though he may have an NHL weakness, which you can only choose, are you going to show their sport rank? And we made the conscious decision to think how you are as bettor is more important than how you are on that particular sport.
Okay. All right, sweet. Matt, Justin, thank you guys for doing this. Any last, because I'm going to go into sort of wrap up mode pretty soon. Justin, I hand it to you first.
Any last thoughts? No, I mean, just WNBA's, I've just definitely had a bit of a thing. I'm definitely getting a lot better. So feeling a lot better about it now. And like I said, I really appreciate it. It's real like there's no way I could bet without something like this, because like I was averaging 100 bets a day, and I'm putting on new bets today, so it would be impossible.
Appreciate that,
Matt.
Yeah, I was gonna say thanks for having me. Juice Reel. It's when I first synced, it was only because Bovada, and I had no thoughts of being. I just thought one day if I could get top 25, that would be pretty cool. And just keep betting and kept grinding and got to number 1. So I appreciate y'all for the favorable algorithm here. And
look at your chart, man. It's worth it. It's not favorable. It looks like a
pretty straight line.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also I have some subscribers and in attendance. Thank you all for joining, and thank you for subscribing and for your trust.
Yeah.
Ricky,
glad to have you guys. Glad to have you guys to everyone in the audience. We really appreciate you, and we're looking forward to more awesome stuff for you and helping you guys make money in sports betting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, huge thanks to Ricky, Matt, Justin, and everyone in attendance for spending your Wednesday night here. I'm gonna hit Andrew. Can you hit the feedback poll? I put together a poll that's just like people
Just
like
one up.
this. It's got a short answer question. So we can leave that up for a while because I'd love to
Yep.
get feedback from people. This was an experiment. I talked about it. I want to start trying out different types of content. So we'll probably grab some highlights from here. I don't know, YouTube, TikTok. I'm not sure where those end up. Yeah, please give us your feedback, in the chat, subscribe to give them a try. My experience with subscribing to people on Juice Reel has been I was a good bettor before, but playing small stakes, and now I'm limited on it. I was probably a little cavalier about it, but I'm doing better on exchanges, and so there's definitely value to be had here. And someone who just like loves sports and hasn't hit as seriously, it's super fun. If anyone, I think we have a few mail stickers. If anyone wants to like come on and ask their question live, hit the hand button, and then I think we're comfortable doing that now. We were wary of doing that too soon, just in case weird things happen. But if not, we'll probably close this out once people responded to the poll. Oh, people are asking, I think that question's for me. Give me 1 second. I did say in today's newsletter, give my bet of the week live for people who showed up. So I got to pull it up.
That's why everyone's sticking around.
I don't know if that's true though. The bets of the week are double digit ROI, which I'm running pretty hot on those. So if any of you joined me on that hot dog eating bet, that was my favorite handicapping of the year.
John messaged me. He's like, I haven't seen CLV on this hot dog bet. And I'm like, this is a new level of.
I did have
You
insane
nailed it.
CLV. Yeah, okay, here's the bet. I can put it in. So this is golf. This guy heard of who's really cheap, but has been playing well, even money to cut. I found a -110 on DraftKings when I bet, shop that. Your mileage may vary, but that is the official on the juice. People who are interested, I will hold myself accountable as always. Oh, and by the way, some people were asking about my profile. I have one. I'll share it. I want to rethink Kalshi first because my betting's happening there, and if people want us to, the madness and the hot dog action, I'm able to communicate that more easily.
Yep, and we will get to work on call sheet.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm still more comfortable as a facilitator. I'm like, these guys are all scientific.
Your chart to be.
My chart is good. I'm not.
The world's ready
Yeah.
to debut it.
I think the chart that least likely to show. I don't know much about Andrew's betting, but I don't think Ricky's chart is going to be at the top of the newsletter.
My chart's
No, mine's not gonna either. It's no good.
good at copying the smart guys.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, most people have responded to the feedback, and we've got a bunch of qualitative stuff. How can we replay, Steven? We'll send the recording out to and potentially edited version to others. So I think we'll send. Oh, where's the pick? It's in the webinar chat. Christopher with a K, right to make the cut.
What sport is that?
It's golf.
Right on.
Right on.
Right on.
Guys, he's formerly of the Chiefs. Finished like
I watch a
13
decent amount of
couple
golf. I'm
times.
surprised.
Guys, I pick some weird places. That's part of my job. Okay, we can show results if people are whole. I don't think you can. You got to read all the. Anyway, this is mostly for us, but it seems like people enjoyed this. Thank you. We'll definitely do this again. I think we're ready to wrap, Andrew.
Yeah, I think
Oh wait,
absolutely.
people are. Hold on. Hearing my pick is not in the webinar.
No, I just reposted it. I think you only.
Oh, I only sent it.
So I just
Awkward.
reposted it for everybody.
Right
Time to make the
time.
cut. Time to make the cut. Kings. It's there for everybody to see. Should be reposted.
Yeah. That's just me not sharing that with everyone is the most awkward thing after Ricky killed the entire webinar for 120 people.
Get better next time. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one.